During the year following the release of Deathly Hallows, JK Rowling did talk a lot. She participated in numerous interviews and engaged with fans, discussing aspects of the wizarding world before Pottermore existed. In this video, we have gathered every piece of information she shared and explained her perspective. We will explore contradictions with the new canon and signs that suggest she may have stopped writing at the right time. JK Rowling reflected that early on, she envisioned Harry facing his own mortality but ultimately surviving. About making another book, she emphasized that extending his story solely for the sake of continuing the battle between good and evil wouldn't have been true to Harry's journey. For her, Harry's ultimate desire was finding peace and happiness with his family. Reflecting on Harry's choices and the dynamics of those around him, Rowling highlighted the complexity of human decisions, like the Malfoys' choices and the exploration of why individuals make certain decisions. She also affirmed Harry and Ginny's strong connection as soulmates. Regarding Harry's need to decode Dumbledore's messages rather than speaking to his portrait, Rowling explained the thematic significance of Harry's growth, his recklessness, and the limitations of the magical world's rules. As Dumbledore says to Harry, to tell Harry about the Hallows was to tempt him, and Harry, throughout all 7 books, has been incredibly impetuous and reckless. That's one of Harry's biggest flaws. He does tend to act without thinking, and Dumbledore knows this about Harry. He wants him to work it out slowly enough to gain wisdom along the way. That's why he passed the information through Hermione, who is the most cautious person in the books, as you know. She emphasized that while magic might offer power, it doesn't eradicate the darker aspects of human nature, which Harry combats throughout the series. JK Rowling also discusses Voldemort's secrecy regarding his horcruxes, mentioning that while Voldemort didn't openly share about them, he dropped hints due to his arrogance, assuming others wouldn't grasp their significance. Rowling highlights that Voldemort's Horcrux magic wasn't unique to him, as other wizards had dabbled in it, though none had made as many as he did. She explains that Regulus Black correctly guessed about Voldemort's fear of death after interpreting these hints. Regarding the murders associated with each Horcrux, Rowling reveals their origins: Moaning Myrtle for the diary, Hepzibah Smith for the cup, a Muggle tramp for the locket, Bertha Jorkins for Nagini, an Albanian peasant for the diadem, and Tom Riddle Sr. for the ring. She clarifies that Voldemort is not a ghost, but exists in a diminished form. Rowling also corrects the misconception that Voldemort's soul was split into 7 parts, stating it was actually 8. When asked about Voldemort's capacity to love, Rowling asserts that he only loved power and himself, viewing others as tools for his ambitions. In an interview with USA Today in July 2007, Rowling expressed the emotional turmoil caused by the deaths of characters like Lupin, Tonks, and Fred Weasley, admitting that she initially intended to keep Lupin and Tonks alive. She likened their deaths to an exchange of hostages, contrasting their fates with Mr. Weasley's survival, who was originally slated to die in the story's draft. Rowling explained that killing off Lupin and Tonks, leaving their son Teddy orphaned, mirrored the evil of Voldemort's actions and the plight of children left unprotected. She emphasized Teddy's importance in the epilogue as a symbol of hope and happiness amidst tragedy, revealing her emotional attachment to the character despite having killed both his parents. Remus was killed by Dolohov and Tonks by Bellatrix. Teddy's upbringing by Andromeda, his parents' killers, and his status as a metamorph magus like his mother were additional details shared by Rowling. Reflecting on the epilogue, Rowling revealed that it required more restraint in divulging information, especially regarding Lupin's son, given her original intention to keep Lupin alive until the 5th book in the series. In an interview with Meredith Vieira, JK Rowling discussed her attachment to certain characters in the Harry Potter series, particularly Arthur Weasley, whom she couldn't bear to part with due to his role as one of the few good fathers depicted in the books. She explained her reluctance to kill off characters like Mr. Weasley, considering Harry's already significant losses of father figures such as Sirius Black and Albus Dumbledore. Rowling also revealed her decision-making process regarding the deaths of Fred and George Weasley, Weasley, noting that she always intended Fred to die despite speculation that it might have been George. She expressed sadness over the idea that George would never fully recover from losing Fred. Rowling also mentioned other characters' post-series lives, such as Ron joining George at Weasley's Wizarding Wheezes, Ginny becoming a Quidditch correspondent, and Percy finding success under Kingsley's administration. Additionally, she confirmed that Mr. Weasley did indeed fix Sirius's motorbike, which ultimately ended up in Harry's possession. Regarding Molly Weasley's confrontation with Bellatrix, Rowling explained her choice, wanting to highlight Molly's hidden talents and maternal love against Bellatrix's obsession with Voldemort. She emphasized that Parseltongue isn't easily learned and clarified Ron's ability to reproduce a single necessary sound rather than mastering the language. Finally, Rowling reflected on Ron's character, acknowledging his immaturity but also his value as a friend, contrasting him with Hermione, whose sensitivity complements Ron's lightheartedness, ultimately leading to their romantic relationship. Next, JK Rowling discusses Dumbledore's character, emphasizing his recognition of his own weakness for power since he was 17 years old. This awareness led him to remain at Hogwarts rather than pursue a path where he might be tempted by power. Rowling notes that Harry admires Dumbledore more for this choice. Regarding Dumbledore's ability to see Harry under his invisibility cloak, Rowling explains that he used the Hominum Revelio spell, indicating his advanced magical abilities. She reveals that in the Mirror of Erist, Dumbledore saw his family reunited and happy, indicating his deepest desires. Rowling also addresses Dumbledore's boggart, which is the corpse of his sister, and hints at his romantic inclinations, suggesting that he may have had feelings for Grindelwald. Rowling underscores the complexity of Dumbledore's character, acknowledging that while he cared for Harry and saw him as a son figure, he also manipulated him to some extent, prompting readers to question his motives. She describes Dumbledore as a nuanced figure, with elements of both benevolence and manipulation, challenging readers to reassess their perceptions of him throughout the series. Regarding Snape, JK Rowling acknowledges his capability for love, affirming his status as a flawed human being, deserving of forgiveness, as Harry ultimately extends to him in the series' epilogue. Despite Snape's absence from the headmaster's office, Rowling suggests it was a deliberate choice, given Snape's abandonment of his post prior to his death, though she hints at Harry rectifying this in the future. Snape's unique ability to produce a full Patronus sets him apart among Death Eaters, indicative of his complex nature. Rowling maintains Snape's character as neither purely good nor evil, describing him as bitter and spiteful, yet immensely brave and capable of love. She emphasizes the ongoing debate among fans about Snape's moral alignment, underscoring his nuanced portrayal throughout the series. During an online chat with Bloomsbury on July 30th, 2007, JK Rowling discussed the complex dynamics between Lily Potter and Severus Snape, suggesting that Lily may have developed romantic feelings for Snape, if not for his deep involvement with dark magic and association with unsavory individuals and actions. Reflecting on the lives of Harry's parents and their friends post-Hogwarts, Rowling shed light on their struggles and commitments. Remus Lupin faced significant challenges due to his lycanthropy, which rendered him largely unemployable until Dumbledore offered him assistance. Meanwhile, James, Lily, and Sirius dedicated themselves as full-time members of the Order of the Phoenix during the First Wizarding War, using James's financial resources to support their cause. Their roles as fighters continued until Lily's pregnancy with Harry prompted them to go into hiding, illustrating the tumultuous and perilous times they faced. On today's show, Dateline NBC, JK Rowling discussed the fate of Hagrid, revealing that while many characters were up for grabs for potential deaths, she had always intended for Hagrid to survive and play a pivotal role, such as carrying Harry out of the forest. She also addressed questions about Hagrid's personal life, humorously dismissing the idea of him marrying or having children due to the limited pool of potential partners, particularly considering the scarcity of giantesses and Hagrid's own unique qualities. Despite the audience's reactions, Rowling assured them of Hagrid's continued existence and left open the possibility of exploring his story further in future works. Rowling explains that Peeves, the mischievous spirit at Hogwarts, isn't intertwined with the story of the Bloody Baron. Rather, he's a chaotic entity that infiltrated the school long ago and has proven impossible to expel. She reveals that the Hufflepuff common room, accessed through a painting near the kitchens, boasts a warm and inviting atmosphere, contrasting sharply with Snape's gloomy mini dungeons, featuring yellow hangings, plush armchairs, and quaint underground tunnels leading to dormitories with round doors akin to barrel tops. Slytherin House, once synonymous with pureblood heritage, has seen its lineage diluted, though its ominous reputation persists, fueling Albus Potter's apprehensions. Rowling confirms the lifting of the jinx on the Defense Against the Dark Arts teaching position at Hogwarts and clarifies that Quirrell, who taught at Hogwarts for over a year, previously held the role of Muggle Studies professor, not Defense Against the Dark Arts instructor. In an interview with the Today Show Dateline NBC on July 29, 2007, JK Rowling discussed the post-Hogwarts careers of Harry, Hermione, and Ron. She revealed that Harry and Ron would become instrumental in transforming the Aura Department at the Ministry of Magic, leading to a non-corrupt and effective institution. Harry, in particular, was anticipated to head the department, ensuring its integrity. Hermione, on the other hand, was depicted as rising within the Department for Magical Law Enforcement, leveraging her intellect and understanding of dark arts to contribute significantly. The ministry itself underwent significant reform under Kingsley's leadership, eradicating discrimination and corruption. While the trio and their companions would play vital roles in rebuilding Wizarding Society, certain changes, such as the removal of Dementors from Azkaban, were assured under Kingsley's governance, marking a departure from the ministry's previous state of corruption. The Malfoys managed to evade trouble once again by collaborating, albeit out of self-interest, with Harry during the battle's conclusion. Narcissa Malfoy, unlike her husband, never bore the Dark Mark, nor was she a full-fledged member. Nonetheless, her beliefs aligned with Lucius's until Voldemort targeted their son. Rowling clarified that Draco became the true owner of the Elder Wand after disarming Dumbledore, despite Draco's unawareness of the wand's allegiance to him. This pivotal moment, where Harry seizes Draco's wand, symbolizes the shift in the wizarding world's fate, according to Rowling, underscoring the unpredictability of grandiose plans. Regarding Malfoy owing Harry a debt, Rowling suggested there wasn't a magical bond, but rather an acknowledgement of Harry's intervention, implying Malfoy's indebtedness. However, Rowling portrayed Malfoy's response as one of awkwardness rather than genuine gratitude in the epilogue, hinting at his lingering resentment and the improbability of his swift redemption. Following her time at Hogwarts, Hermione embarked on her professional journey at the Department for the Regulation and Control of Magical Creatures, spearheading significant improvements in the lives of house elves and similar beings. Despite her initial skepticism expressed to Scrimgeour, she transitioned to the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, where she championed progressive ideals and played a pivotal role in dismantling oppressive pro-pureblood legislation. Furthermore, she promptly brought her parents back home, emphasizing her strong sense of family ties and responsibility. In the discussion about the Peverell legend and the Deathly Hallows, Rowling explains that Harry and Voldemort share distant ancestry through the Peverells, a connection reflective of the intertwined heritage of many wizarding families over generations as depicted in Deathly Hallows. She clarifies that wearing the ring wouldn't activate the stone, as it originally existed separate from the ring and required 3 turns to activate. Regarding the stone's fate, Rowling speculates it won't be found, envisioning it being inadvertently trampled and buried by a centaur during the chaos of the Hogwarts battle. Responding to questions in a Bloomsbury online chat on July 30, 2007, JK Rowling explains Dumbledore's suspicion that the snake's essence was divided, containing a part of Voldemort's soul, which explained its obedience. Regarding the chapter in King's Cross, Rowling suggests that Harry entered a limbo between life and death. She leaves the interpretation open for readers, but mentions Aberforth's encounter with Mundungus in Hogsmeade and the significance of dung selling Sirius's mirror. Discussing Muggleborns, Rowling notes the resurgence of magical genes in unexpected places. In another interview on BBC's Blue Peter show, she addresses the Time Turner's limitations, preventing Harry from using it to save his parents, citing the complexity it added to the plot. Reflecting on the impact of Arthur Weasley's survival in Book 5, Rowling reveals her decision to maintain Ron's character and humor, avoiding his transformation into a more serious figure. She emphasizes Ron's growth in the final book and the desire to bring the story full circle by depicting the theme of orphanhood from the beginning to the epilogue, where Teddy gets a better godfather than Harry had. Rowling acknowledges the difficulty in killing Lupin and Tonks, characters she loved. During an online chat with Bloomsbury on July 30, 2007, JK Rowling reflected on Dudley Dursley's worst memory, suggesting that it occurred when he was attacked by Dementors. Rowling expressed that this experience forced Dudley to confront his true self for the first time, causing him immense pain, but ultimately leading to a beneficial transformation. Later, during her open book tour appearance in New York City on October 19, 2007, Rowling elaborated on Dudley's encounter with the Dementors, emphasizing that he likely witnessed his own spoiled nature in a terrifying revelation. She remarked that while Dementor attacks are typically harmful, this particular incident served as a wake-up call for Dudley, prompting him to confront his flaws and initiate personal growth. Again, in the Bloomsbury Online chat, JK Rowling addressed various questions regarding the fate of Firenze, the centaur. Rowling explained that the rest of the herd eventually acknowledged and accepted Firenze's pro-human leanings as honorable rather than shameful. Another inquiry delved into the fate of Harry as a horcrux when he was stabbed by a basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets. Rowling clarified that Harry's fortune lay in having Fawkes the Phoenix, who was able to mend him before irreversible damage occurred. She emphasized the absence of Fawkes during a subsequent horcrux stabbing, allowing the basilisk poison to work its irreparable effect. The discussion extended to house elves, with Rowling mentioning that Winky remained at Hogwarts and participated in the final battle against the Death Eaters. On the topic of Dementors, Rowling explained that while they couldn't be destroyed, their numbers could be limited by addressing the conditions that facilitated their multiplication, such as despair and degradation. Responding to a question about Dementors having souls, Rowling firmly stated that they do not possess souls. Luna Lovegood, a character Rowling holds dear, eventually married a fellow naturalist, Rolf, who happens to be the grandson of the renowned Newt Scamander, albeit later than Harry and his friends. Luna pursued her passion for naturalism, a trait Rowling admires in her, though whether she ever discovered any crumple-horned snorkax remains uncertain. Rowling addressed the question of how Umbridge could conjure a Patronus while wearing the locket, explaining it by highlighting Umbridge's inherently malicious nature and her affinity for the locket, which actually aided her rather than impeded her abilities. Rowling also mentioned Umbridge's subsequent arrest, interrogation, and imprisonment for crimes against Muggleborns. Regarding Lockhart, Rowling bluntly stated that he would never recover from his condition. In an interview conducted by Jess Mack, Rowling described how the dark mark would eventually fade into a scar, akin to Harry's lightning scar, without causing pain or discomfort. When asked about the third scent Hermione smelled in the Amatentia potion in Half-Blood Prince, which turned out to be Ron's particular essence, Rowling suggested it was his hair, emphasizing the distinctiveness of individuals' scents. Regarding wands, Rowling elaborated on Ollivander's explanation that while wizards can use almost any wand, those that choose them work best. She also noted that wands with a family connection tend to function slightly better than those chosen randomly. About Neville Longbottom's acquisition of the Sword of Gryffindor, she explained that Neville, a worthy Gryffindor, demonstrated bravery akin to Harry's in the Chamber of Secrets by seeking help. Gryffindor's sword was magically transported into Gryffindor's old hat, which initially belonged to the house founder. Rowling dismissed Griphook's claim that Gryffindor stole the sword, suggesting it was a misunderstanding rooted in goblin perspectives on ownership. In a bonus interview, Rowling reiterated that the sword's allegiance was to a worthy Gryffindor, destined to return when needed most, which it did for Neville. Regarding Trevor the Toad, Rowling debunked theories about him being Neville's Uncle Algy in disguise, affirming that Trevor was just a toad. As for Neville's love life, Rowling revealed in a BBC interview that he eventually married Hannah Abbott, who became the new landlady at the Leaky Cauldron, adding a touch of coolness to his character among Hogwarts students. She portrayed Wormtail's desperate act of retrieving Voldemort's wand to win favor, Colin Creevy's disobedience by sneaking back with the DA despite McGonagall's orders, and confirmed Rita Skeeter's ongoing presence as a reporter. Rowling also hinted at the trio's future appearance on Chocolate Frog cards, with with Ron claiming it as his finest hour and affirmed that the DA kept the coins as tokens of their involvement in the battle against Voldemort, envisioning Neville proudly displaying his to his students. JK Rowling discussed Aberforth's character, confirming his presence at the Hog's Head. When asked about Dumbledore's mention of Aberforth's prosecution for practicing inappropriate charms on a goat in the Goblet of Fire, Rowling jokingly responded, engaging with the humor while considering the Inquisitor's age. She suggested Aberforth might have been attempting to magically create a goat that was easier to maintain, perhaps with curly horns, a remark layered with comedic depth. Rowling highlighted Aberforth's peculiar attachment to goats, which played a significant role later in the series, hinting at its relevance in Book 7. In a separate event, during the TLC Transcript NYC Open Book Tour, Rowling casually mentioned that Cho Chang, a character from the series, had married a Muggle. In a Bloomsbury online chat from July 30th, 2007, Rowling revealed that while considering titles for her book, The Elder Wand and The Peverell Quest were among the options, with the former being used as a chapter title and the latter discarded quickly. She expressed pride in the genuine possibility of Harry's death in Deathly Hallows, stating that she aimed to make the prospect of death real in her story, allowing readers to feel the uncertainty akin to real life. Rowling embarked on a new writing chapter with the publication of Deathly Hallows, clarifying her disinterest in exploring the 19-year gap between Harry's final battle and the epilogue. Rowling acknowledged the religious undertones in her work, particularly evident in the 7th book, where discussions of life after death are prominent. She admitted to considering the deaths of major characters like Harry, Hermione, and Ron, aiming to convey the sense that no character was immune from mortality. Regarding the decision to spare Harry, Rowling disclosed that she swapped his fate with another character, ultimately sparing Mr. Weasley and deliberately echoing Harry's loss of parents while maintaining the unpredictability of death in her narrative. Meredith Vieira inquired why it was significant for J.K. Rowling to explore themes of cruelty and inhumanity in her writing. Rowling expressed uncertainty about the specific reason, but emphasized that it was her primary focus. She discussed the theme of choice and portrayed the character Voldemort as a psychopath, acknowledging that despite being seemingly beyond redemption, there was a glimpse of potential for redemption due to a drop of hope or love. In a separate interview, Rowling mentioned that the concept of the Deathly Hallows might have drawn inspiration from Chaucer's The Pardoner's Tale. Regarding the decision to set the epilogue 19 years later, Rowling explained that she wanted to ensure characters didn't have children too young, aiming to convey the next generation reaching a specific point before the departure of the Hogwarts Express. She humorously added that she didn't want to encourage teenage pregnancies, and 19 years provided an adequate time frame. That is all of the information Rowling revealed after the 7th and last installment of the series was out. During the following years, she expanded the universe with Pottermore in 2011, then The Cursed Child and the Fantastic Beasts series for the better or the worst. If you learned something new, what was it about? Did you notice some contradictions with her later work? If you are interested about what JK Rowling, other universe expansion, or even about her other books, consider leaving a comment about it so I can see which article to write first. Anyway, see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe to the Daily Prophet online, or you will be changed in a toad at midnight.